Okay, today we're going to take a look at the zoom in and zoom out features of the Mandelbrot set. May stumble around a little bit here, but we'll see if we can get at it. What I've done is I've run up some code in Visual Studio for the Mandelbrot set, and that's been using the Splashkit toolkit. And so what we started out with doing was saying that the Mandelbrot uh, that's the width and the height is going to be 4 and 3, and we are running a 320 by 240 window wide, and also we're starting the Mandelbrot set at minus 2.5 and 1.5, as you can see down in the bottom of the screen there. So to the zoom in function, firstly what we are going to need to do is to zoom in. We're going to need to divide the width by 2 and the height by 2, so we're going to need to halve it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to, around here, we're just going to click our mouse, and that will look around about 80 pixels in by 80 pixels in. So we're just going to, taking the Mandelbrot width divided by 2, we would expect that it would start to build the Mandelbrot set from this point across, and that would be, of course, half the width of the original width. But the user doesn't want to see that because they would expect to zoom in and the mouse click would be the center of the shot. So what we need to do is we need to center it up. So firstly we need to start with, okay, so this is the mouse clicked position here, and this is the equation by which it calculates that. And oh, by the way, that would be ordinarily, if it built out from this point here, then it would be the area of focus, at least anyway. So that's our mouse clicked area, our mouse click point. And if we plug some figures in here, if we did 80 pixels in by 80 pixels, so this is just the width. So if we had plugged some numbers in here, we're going to come up with about minus 1.5. And if we look at that, you've got 0 here, well that's minus 2.5 here. That looks about right. Okay, so to calculate the center, we're going to need to center this up. What it is your new start of the Mandelbrot set is going to be the same equation, however, minus the half of the new Mandelbrot width. Okay, so that's going to be now, if we plug some figures in, where are we here? As you can see, this is gone to the new Mandelbrot width. If we plug some figures in here, that's 2 divided by 2, which is minus 2.5, and this is where it's going to start to build the set from. And that looks about right. So our calculations are pretty good, it's looking like so far. So to do the height, what we're going to need to do is to calculate the same equation. It's going to be simply the MBY and the start MBY and the mouse Y, and if we calculate where the mouse clicked is, it's going to be minus 0.5, and that looks about right as well. So you can see here that the final start point for drawing the Mandelbrot set vertically is going to be minus 1.25. So putting that in perspective, I'm just going to do a little bit of animation here. You can see that this is the point around which that the set is going to be drawn when we zoom in. Okay, and those are the figures, the start and the start here for the height, that look pretty good. Okay, so this is the resultant image here, and I can actually go to the one I prepared earlier. In fact, I haven't prepared it, so I'm just going to do that right now. Actually, There we go. And let's just bring it up here. So if I click in here, around about 80 to 80, you're going to get this sort of an image, which is kind of roughly what I've been able to do. So this is live, folks, so let's just run with it. Okay, so this is the resultant image that we've got, and we've zoomed in quite nicely. What we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to zoom out. And my apologies, I haven't put the heading correctly here. That needs to be corrected. So in order to zoom out, we're actually going to need to now double the width. And what that's going to look like, where we click our mouse around here, is that the width is going to start to build the Mandelbrot set out from here. But as you can see, this goes all the way off the screen at double the width. So we're actually, this has to be gotten rid of as well, my apologies, but it's double the width. And of course, the viewing area where it would build out, you can see this little guy down here, that would actually be way down the page. So it would actually build the set out diagonally down like this. So this here, once again, this is the equation for where the mouse is clicked. If we plug some figures in here, we could say, well, okay, so we're 240 across, 240 pixels across. That was the width at least anyway. And so as far as the mouse clicked on the Mandelbrot set area, that would be about -1. And if we go and calculate what's actually needed for where we need to start building the Mandelbrot set so that our mouse point is centered to the user, it's going to be the same equation, but that's going to be take away the new half of the new Mandelbrot width, which is going to look like this. So you'll see just in a moment how much smaller this is, in fact half the width that it is of the new width. So this is actually going to be in ×2 scale. So just bear with me here. So once again, I've plugged in some numbers. I've gone 240 for the width, and I've also gone 240 here, but minus the new Mandelbrot width, or half of the new Mandelbrot width, we get -3. So it's actually going to start to build it out from -3, which is kind of further out than the -2.5, but you'll see how this works in just a tick. And for the height, if we had the 160, so we're about 160 down, so 2/3 down. Yeah, that looks about right. And our new start point is -1.75, so we're actually going to be further out than the -1.5 we started with. Okay, let's just put that all together. Visually, what's going to happen is we've clicked the mouse here, and we think that we're going to start to build a Mandelbrot set out from here, but no. And of course, as you can see, this is just going to be way down the page, our lower bound of how it's going to build. Thinks it's going to build the set out from here. All right, so half of the Mandelbrot width is this section here. So if we extend that further out like that, and that was out to our -3. And if we bring this up like this is just going to illustrate where the position is going to be. So you can see here that the image here has moved to the left, but not fully to the left, because we've got -3 and actually -1.75. It's starting to build from there. So we'll just get rid of these guys down here. And what's going to happen is we'll take, like I say, this is to double scale. So this is the image, the resultant image that we're going to get. And what you can see is that we're not quite back at the center, even though we were proportionally across down here. So it just doesn't quite work like that. and as you can see, the maths bears that out. So what of course is going to happen is that we are of course just going to fit this image back into a standard 320 by 240 window, and you can see here that, well, this is where our image winds up. Okay, and this is a vision of the sort of patterns or visualizations that you can get with the Mandelbrot set. Some stuff I prepared earlier. Looks pretty good, so let's see if we can just hunt around and see what sort of results we get. We can dive down into some of these little crevices here and just take a look at what these guys are about. We can muck around with this for ages. But as you can see, you can get some nice pretty patterns here. We might just go here. There you go. And of course we can zoom out. So if we start right mouse clicking here, and we can zoom out here. I've got a bit of a dodgy mouse, and this is a little bit slow. The computer's the fan's starting to work pretty hard here. And we can really start to zoom out. It's taken a little while. I'm using a MacBook Air here, and you can see we're almost back home. There we go. Okay, so that finishes our presentation. I hope that was useful. I'll see if I can post some more videos on this as knowledge comes to pass. Thanks very much. Cheers.